Hello everyone, good morning. Myself Muralidhar Reddy. I'm a DevOps consultant and solution architect. Now we are going to discussing about what is Docker container, what are the features providing Docker container, and also we can see the Docker container commands as well. Let's see the demo so that you will get some idea. Before going to discussing see the demo, first we need to be understand what exactly Docker container. We can here we have a DevOps 0 to Hero series day 31. I already written the documentation as well. First we can see the theory part and then we can entering into the practical. First of all, what is Docker container? Docker container is a lightweight, standalone and executable package that contains everything needs to run piece of software, including application code, runtime, system tools, libraries, and also configuration settings. Example, I'm a developer. I have written that Java-based application that is a microservice. I need to run that particular microservice as a container. Either I can directly run the container or I can directly deploy in the Kubernetes as well. For that one, what you have to do? First, I need to generate either jar or var file, and then I need to write the Docker file. I need to build the Docker image, and then I need to push the particular Docker image to either Docker Hub or AWS ECR. Usually, most of the organizations will be use the AWS ECR only if they are using the cloud is AWS. Understand, right? So here, the whatever we created the Docker image, inside the Docker image, it contains that information like application code, runtime, system, libraries, everything. Once you run the particular Docker image, it will create the container. Understand, right? It will be create the container. Container is nothing but application only, guys. Container is nothing but application only. Containers are created from the Docker images run in isolated environment, ensuring consistent behavior of application across different environment. Example, development, testing, production environments. What I mean to say here, I build the Docker image, same thing deploy in the dev, test, QA, UAT, pre-prod applications. So it contains the same behavior, application will be work. Okay, everything all are isolated only. Understand, right? And coming to the key features, as I said, container is the lightweight only. Lightweight means like if you run the container in the specific server, example, we have EC2 instance. Here, I'll be create the container. The container, what will happen, right? The container, it will be use the host OS kernel only. It will be share the host, host OS kernel only. Unlike like if you are using VM level, right? We require the full guest OS. But when it comes to the container, right? Container, it will be use the same server host OS kernel only. Understand, right? And also fast startup. It means like if you want to be create the container, it will launch in seconds. Fraction of seconds, it will be create the container. And portable. Portable means we can run the same in the development, testing, pre-prod, prod, all the other environments, we can run it. And isolated. Each container is independently its own environment. Example, if we created the container in the dev, test, QA, UAT, pre-prod, prod, the containers are isolated only. Even if you run it in the same server, if you run it in the two different containers with the same image, so all are isolated only. Understand, right? And here container images is like read-only one. Remember, guys, it is a immutable. Immutable is nothing but once you build the Docker image, okay, you can't edit it. It is a read-only. Read-only. In case if you want to do any modification, again you need to build the new image. Okay, again you need to build the new image from Docker file. Clear, right? And container is a temporary house. Example, you have a one house, there you have a furniture. Okay, the particular furniture you can move from one location to another locations, right? Inside around inside you can do that, right? Once you destroy that particular house, whatever we have a changes done, right, everything will be gone. All changes are gone. Here you have to remember one thing, inside the container also we can maintain that persistent data. If you're not maintain the persistent data, what will happen, right? Whatever inside the container, once you delete the container, it will be gone. Understand, right? Clear. And here, as I said, images are immutable, unchangeable. Once you create the Docker image, you can't change it. In case if you want to be do the modification, again you need to be create the new Docker image. Clear, right? And next one is containers. Containers are changeable. It means like we can do any changes inside the container. Example, you can create the file, you can delete the file, whatever you want, you can do that. Everything. Any questions here? Understand, right? And one more thing, remember, single Docker image, we can create the multiple container. Example, I have one Docker image that is a user registration application. Using that particular user registration image, we can create many containers. You can create the many containers. Understand that? Single Docker image, we can create the multiple containers. Understand that? Now we can see the demo as well so that you will get more idea. For that one, right here, I already connected to the Docker server. Here we already installed the Docker, and also I'm checking here Docker images. Docker images. Here you can see that Nginx and also user registration. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create the container. Okay, from this particular Nginx image. How do we do? For that one, you can give it Docker run -itd. I is nothing but interactive. T is nothing but TTY mode. D is nothing but detached mode. Detached mode is nothing but background. It will run the background. Container will be run the background. Again, I'm repeating. Docker run -itd. I is nothing but interactive mode. T is nothing but TTY mode. D is nothing but detached mode. And then here, what you have to do? You need to give the image ID. Okay. Example I'm giving here, image ID. Once you run this particular, sorry, 1 second. Yeah, until here. Once you run this Docker run command, what will happen, right? It will create the container. Now you can enter here. If you see here, when you run that Docker image, it will be create the container. This is the container ID. This is the container ID. How do we check whether container is created or not? For that one, we can give it Docker ps command. When you give the Docker ps command, what will happen, right? It will give the running containers. Docker ps command, it will give the running containers. If you see here, this is the container ID, image ID, and what is the command to run this particular container, when it was created, what is the status of the particular container, what is the port number, what is the name of the particular container. If you see here, if you're not giving any container name, default it will give the random name. Understand that? Understand that? Now here you can see that Docker ps command, it will be create the container. I mean, Docker ps command, it will be display the running containers. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to run it again, that particular Docker run command. If you see here, I run this particular one. Earlier the container ID is this one. Now the container is created another one. Each and every time when you run the container, it will create the unique ID. Now if you see here, when you go and run this particular Docker ps command, it is giving the two containers with the same image. As I said earlier, single Docker image, we can run the multiple containers. Understand right? Any questions now? Any questions now? Now you understood, right? Now here we can see that in case if you want to be see the stopped one, if you want to be see the container created one, how do we check it? For that one, you can give it Docker ps-a. If you give the -a, right, what will happen? It will give both running containers and also stopped containers as well. It will be display here, and also whatever created containers also, it will be display here. Understand, right? Currently we have only 2 running containers. That's why here it is displaying. But in real time, right, sometimes we may have Docker. When you give the Docker ps-a, it will be display both running containers and also stopped containers as well. And also, if you created a container, just created a container, but it is not running, those things also it will be display when you use the Docker -ps-a. Docker space ps-a. Understand, right? Now, what is the next step? In case if you want to see the only container ID, if you see here, I need to display only container ID. For that one, you can give it Docker ps-q. Docker ps-q. When we give this Docker ps-q, it will be display the container IDs. It will be display the only container IDs. It will be display only running containers, because just I have given -q. Understand, right? Now, in case if you want to be display both stopped containers and also created stopped containers, and also if you want to be see that particular running containers, both container IDs, what you have to do, we can give it Docker ps-aq. You can give it AQ. When you give that Docker ps-aq, it will be display the container IDs. Remember, guys, container IDs, including stopped containers also, it will be display here. Everything it will be displayed. A is nothing but all. Q means it will be display the all the containers, the particular quite. Okay, the particular container IDs, it will be displayed. Clear, right? Any questions now? Any questions? Now, in case if you want to be see the particular container, the particular container size, then what you can do? You can give the Docker ps hyphen s. S is nothing but it will be display the show disk. It will be display the disk space. If you come down, let me give me 1 second. Again, you can run it here. If you observe here, this particular container ID, here you can see the size. What is the virtual size is 192 MB, and here you can see that 1.09 KB. Understand, right? Here you can see that you can use ps-s. It will display the each running container, the particular running container size. It will be display. In case if you want to be display all, it will both stopped one and everything, you can give it -a. A means all, it will be display both stopped one and running containers. S means it will be display the particular size. Understand, right? Any questions now? Now clear, right? So, and also here we display that, and also we wanted to understand what are the subcommands available. For that one, you can give it here Docker container. Just enter, or you can give -l. Docker container, just enter. Here you can see that all the subcommands. Just we have discussed about ps command. Okay, just we discussed about ps command only. Understand, right? And here you can see that everything Docker container, the particular commands, everything you can able to see it here. Any questions now? Now we'll later sometime later video we'll be discussing subcommands so that you will get some idea. Now you understood, right? What exactly Docker a container, how do we create the container, and how do we check whether container is running or not? Okay, what is the stopped container? How do we display everything? Can able to see it. Any questions now? Now you understood, right? Now we are going to discussing about Docker container commands part 1. Let's see the demo so that you will get some idea. So here we have a DevOps 0 to Hero series, day 31. Docker commands I already mentioned here. Now we can see the demo also so that we'll get some idea. So earlier, as I said earlier, right? Here we have there are multiple subcommands available: attach, commit, cp, create, diff, and exec, export, everything, right? We can discuss one by one, whatever we'll be use it in the real time. So for that one, right? In this video, we are going to discussing in the part 1, we are going to be discussing these commands. First one is Docker container run command or Docker run command. We already saw that, right? Using the Docker run command, we can create the container from the particular image. Here you have to remember, we can give Docker container run or Docker run command. Both are same only. We already covered, and again I'm going to show you here. For that one, Docker images. If you see here we have 2 images. I'm going to take the sample one is Nginx. Here you can create that. You can give Docker container run or Docker run command. Anything is fine, guys. Okay, Docker run command and then -itd. Here I'm not giving the D. What is happening? Let's see. -I means interactive mode, T is in TT mode, D means detached mode. Detached mode is nothing but a container will be run the particular background. But here I'm not giving the D. Let's see that. And here I'm giving that image ID. Just give the image ID. Now you can enter. When you give this Docker run -it, what is happening, right? It will run this particular one container. But when you stop this Control C, the container also will be stopped state. If you go and check it here, right? If you go and check it here, Docker ps command, here you can see the only 2 containers. But when you go, when you use this Docker ps-a, when you give the Docker ps-a command, and here you can see that exited, it means the container is stopped state. The container is stopped state. Understand, right? If you're not giving the day, it won't be running the daemon. When you give the Control C exit from there, what is happening, right? The container also will be, it will go to the stop state only. Usually this particular Docker run -it will be use it in case if you want to be troubleshoot, if you want to be see that particular container is running or not properly. During that time we'll be see it. But once everything's fine, what we will be right? What we will be do right? We always run the container in detached mode only. Clear, right? Fine. What is the next one? If you go here, Docker ps command, we already discussed. Again, I'm going to discussing here. Docker ps command. When you give the Docker ps command, what will happen, right? It will be display only running containers. But if you give the Docker ps-a command, it will give the both stopped containers and also running containers. If you see here, these 2 containers are running, but this particular container is stopped state. That's why it is displaying both running containers and also stopped containers. Understand, right? Fine. In case if you want to be display only if you see here, docker ps -q, it will be display the running container IDs only. In case if you want to be display that both running containers and also stopped container IDs, now you can give it ps-aq. A is nothing but all, q means it will be quiet, and it will be display the both running and stopped containers IDs. Understand that? A means all, it will be displayed. Any questions here? Fine. What is the next one? And here you can give it docker container ls command. Docker container ls command or docker ps command, both same only, guys. If you go here, docker container ls command, sorry, docker container ls command. If you see here, docker container ls command, it will display the all the running containers. Or you can also give the docker ps-a. If you give the docker ps command, it will give the same only. Understand right? Docker ps command, it will be display the running container. And also you can also use docker container ls command also, it will be display the only running containers. But I highly recommend try to use docker ps command, because docker ps command will give the lot of features, like you can also display check that stopped containers as well, everything can able to verify it. Understand right? Any questions now? Fine. What is the next one? In case if you want to be go to inside that container, right? What you can use docker container exec command. Exec is nothing but execute command. So here if you see here docker ps command, the container is running. Now what you can do? We can go to inside this particular container, first container. For that one, what you can do? Now you can give it docker container exec, or directly you can give docker exec as well. Anything is fine. Docker space container space exec or docker space exec, anything is fine. In my case, what we are doing here, right? We are giving the docker exec, and then here you can give the -it. Remember, when you are connecting to the container, when you are going to insert the container, don't give d detached mode, don't give, just give it docker exec -it. I is nothing but interactive mode, t is nothing but tty mode, and then here you have to give the container ID. If you see here, this is our container ID, and then in last, what you have to do? You need to give it either bin bash or bash. Here I'm giving that bin bash. If you see here, bin bash, it is going to insert the container. If you give the pwd, right? Currently I'm in the root path. Understand? I'm in the root path. Any questions now? I'm inside the container only. If you see here, docker exec -t container ID bin bash. If you give that inside, you will go to the inside the container. We are using nginx, right? That's why default path is /. That's why it is here. It is go to the root path only. Okay, clear, right? Any questions now? Now you can exit from here, and also same command you can give instead of bin bash, right? Directly you can give the bash as well. If you see here, you can give the bash as well. If you give the bash, here you can see that root user container ID. I'm in the / directory. Understand, right? Any questions now? And also, if you go here, exit one, and also you can give the sh as well. I think sh also it will work. If you see here, sh also, sh shell, bash shell also. Okay, now you can give it pwd. Now I'm in the / only. And also here you can give it a bash also. It will convert it to bash script as well, bash as well. Understand, right? Any questions here? Now you understood, right? Now you may ask question, Murli, when will we use this particular docker exec command? Sometimes, right, in case if you want to be go to the inside the container, okay, you wanted to check whether the specific files or directories are created or not, whether the particular environment variables is added or not. If you want to be check it, what you can do, we can use docker exec command -it container ID bin bash or sh. You can give it, and you can go to the inside the container, and we can verify here. Example, I'm going to insert the user. Okay, and here ll command, it won't work. You have to give the ls command only. Here you can see the specific things. Understand, right? Any questions now? Now clear, right? Now I'm going to the exit this particular one, exit this particular container. Now I'm back to my system only. It means my server. Understand, right? Now here you can give it docker ps command. Any questions? Docker exec command, exec, fine. Now, in case if you want to be check the logs, container logs, what you can do? You can give docker container logs or docker logs command. Anything is fine. Docker container logs or docker logs command. Now I want to check the container logs. Now you can give it Docker logs, and then here you can give the container ID. Okay. Now some reasons this particular container keep on restarting. Then what you can do, right? You can check the logs, what exactly happening. For that one, you can give it Docker logs command and container ID. Now, if you see here you can see that everything looks good and started the particular process as well. Everything looks good. I don't see any issues in this particular container. Okay. Again, I'm repeating Docker space container space logs and container ID, or Docker space log space container ID. You can give anything. Okay. You can give anything. Clear, right? Any questions now? Any questions? No, right? Fine. What is the next one? In case if you want to see the information about container, the container information, if you want to be check it, what we can do, we can give it Docker container inspect command. Docker container inspect command. For that one, what I'm going to do, first you can give Docker ps command. It is display the container ID. And here remember, inspect command, it is available for both images and also container. That's why what you have to do, you have to give it Docker container inspect, and then here you can give the container ID. Now what is happening, right? It will be display the information about container ID. Okay, container. If you see here you can see that this is the information about container ID. If you go here you can see that when it was created, what is the path, what is the arguments we have, what is the state, whether it is running or not, and what is the running state, true, paused or not. Okay, restarting, anything for any OM, it is nothing but memory related one, out of memory. Okay, dead, PID, what is the PID, everything can able to see it here as well. Okay, if you want to see the container information, you can use Docker container inspect command. And also if you see here, we are using overlay to driver only. Earlier we discussed that drivers overlay to only, default one is overlay to only, that one only we are using. Okay, super. Now if you go here, Docker container rename command. If you want to be rename the container name, how do we do? Example, if you see here, Docker ps command. When you create the container, during that time it is created one container name, right? Here you can see that it is created the container name, that is a random name. Now what you can do, if you want to be rename this particular container name, what you can do, you can give Docker container rename command, and then you have to give the container ID space, and you have to give the container name, new container name. Okay, for that one, if you go here, Docker container rename command, and then here I'm giving that this container ID, and then here I'm giving that nginx. Example, I'm giving that instead of this update, what I'm giving here, right? I'm giving that nginx. Now you can give it enter. Now if you go and check it here, Docker ps command, and here you can see that earlier it was update, now it is nginx only. Using this particular Docker container rename command and the container ID, and then you have to give the container, new container name, whatever you want, you can give it. Or you can also give it, I think you can give it Docker rename command, container ID, and then example, you can give that this one, container ID. Example, I'm giving here new nginx. Currently it is nginx. Now what I'm doing here, right? I'm renaming to new nginx. Now you can give it here Docker ps. If you see here, you can give the Docker container rename command, or you can directly give the Docker rename command as well. Anything is fine. Anything is fine. Clear, right? Any questions? Now what is the next one? In case if you want to be create the container, you don't want to be create the, you don't want to be run the container, just you want to be create the container. For that one, what you can do, Docker create container create command, and then you can give the image ID. So it will be just create the container. It won't be run the container. Let's see that, so that you will get some idea. So for that one, you can go here, Docker images. Okay. Now here I'm giving that Docker run -itd. Sorry, Docker, not run, Docker container create, Docker container create, and then here you can give the image ID. Now what is happening, right? When you use this particular Docker container create command and container ID, it will create the container. 1 second, guys, I gave the wrong this container name. Containers. Now create. Now what is happening, right? It is created the container, but it is not running. If you go and check it here, right? Docker ps command, it is not showcasing. It is showcasing only two containers, whatever earlier we created. If you see here, up status is 31 minutes back. But we gave the Docker container create command. Now what is happening, right? From this particular image, just it is created the container, but it is not running. For that one, if you go and check it here, right? Docker ps-a. When you give the Docker ps-a, it will be display the running container, stopped containers, and also created container. If you see here, Docker ps-a, it is displayed that status is created. Status is created. It is not running, guys. Again, I'm repeating. Just created the container. It is not running the container. It is not running the container. Understand, right? Any questions now? Any questions now? Clear, right? So these are the commands in the part 1. Again, I'm repeating. Docker container run command or Docker run command, both same only. If you want to be create the container from image, you can do that. Under Docker ps command, it will be display the containers running. What are the running containers? If you want to be display that running containers and stopped containers, you can give Docker ps-a. In case if you want to be display the container IDs, you can give it Docker ps-q. It will be display the running container IDs. In case if you want to be display both running, stopped, and created container IDs, what you can do, you can give Docker ps-aq. And if you want to be see the container size, what you can do, you can give Docker ps-s command. Clear, right? S command. AS means it will be display all the containers, running, stopped one, and created a container size, whatever size, it will be display. And Docker container ls also same, it will be display the running containers, but I highly recommended to use Docker ps command. And Docker exec command, in case if you want to be log into going to the inside the container, you can use Docker container exec or Docker exec command to go into inside the container. These are one of the most important. Docker ps also one of the most important, and also Docker run command also most important command. And also Docker logs command or Docker container logs if you want to be check the container logs. Docker container inspect command or Docker container inspect command, it will be display the container information. If you want to rename the container, you can give rename command. If you want to create the container, what you can do, you can give the Docker container create command. Clear, right? So these are the commands, and also few more commands also will be there. Will be discussed later, some later video, so that you will get some idea. Any questions now? Now we are going to discussing about Docker container commands part 2. Let's see the demo so that you will get some idea. So earlier we saw that few of the commands, right? And also we have few more commands we can discuss in this video. First of all, right, Docker container rm command. Rm is nothing but remove. If you want to be remove the container, what we can do? We can use the Docker container rm command. So for that one, you can go here. Currently, if you use this Docker ps command, here the containers are running. Now what I wanted to do, right? I wanted to remove the container, this running container. So then what you can do, you can give it Docker rm command, and then you can Docker container space rm or Docker rm command, both same only. And then you can give the container ID. Now I have given here. Now if you see here, when I am trying to delete the running container, Docker rm container ID. When I am trying to delete the running container ID, what is throwing here, right? It is throwing the error response from daemon, cannot remove container. The reason, right? Container is running. First, what you have to do? You need to stop the container before removing or forcefully remove the particular one. Then what you have to do? First, we can stop the container and then we can delete the container. Now, what I'm going to do here, right? Docker stop, and then here you have to give the container ID. Okay, just copy this particular container ID. Now we can stop this particular one. If we go and check it here, right? Docker ps command. Currently it is running only one because another container is we have stopped it. Now I'm checking Docker ps-a. It will be display the stopped containers as well. If you see here, 10 seconds back, it was stopped the container. Now what you can do? Now you can remove the container. Docker rm command or Docker container space rm command. Anything is fine. Okay. Now you can give the container ID. Docker rm container ID. Now if you see here, container is deleted. Now you can go here, Docker ps command, and here you can see that container is docker ps-a command, and here you can see that the whatever we have at 10 seconds, right, the particular container ID is deleted permanently. Clear, right? Any questions now? Any questions? This part is clear, right? Docker rm command, and also we saw that docker stop command as well. Now, in case if you want to be start the container, how do we do? For that one, you can use docker container start command or docker start command. Anything is fine. Now you can go here, docker ps-a, and here you can see that currently we have a 46 minutes back. One container is stopped one. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to run the particular one. For that one, docker start, and then here you can give the container ID. Now you can copy this particular container ID, enter. Now if you see here, container is created. Now you can go ahead and check it here, docker ps command. Currently one container is running. If you see here, 741, it is running. Understand, right? 3 seconds back, the status is 3 seconds back only. Clear, right? Any questions now? Now you understood, right? If you want to be start that one, start the container, stop the container, you can use docker start and container ID. If you want to be stop the container, docker stop container ID. Clear, right? And also if you want to be pause the container, okay, some reasons you wanted to be pause the container, what you can do, you can use docker container pause, and then you have to give the container ID, or you can give the docker pause command and container ID. Now if you see here, docker pause, and whatever 3 seconds back, right, that one, just I'm pausing the container. Let's see. Now you can enter. If you see here, it is paused one. Now you can give it docker ps command. Here it is showcasing that the container is paused one. Understand, right? Here you can see that message also, it is paused. Okay, understand, right? If you want to be pause the container, you can do that. In case if you want to be unpause this one, whatever pause the container, if you want to be unpause, what you can do, you can give it docker unpaused. Okay, you can give docker unpause, and then here you can give the container ID. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to give this particular whatever container ID paused one, I'm going to unpause this one. Now you can enter here. If you see here, it is unpaused, and here you can go with docker ps, and here you can see that whatever container ID, right, earlier it was paused one, now it is remove that paused one, unpaused it. Okay, clear, right? Any questions now? Now what is the next one? If you want to be wait the container, what you can do, you can use docker container wait command. If you see here, we have a docker ps, and currently running, both containers are running. Now what I'm doing here, right, I'm using docker wait command, docker container space wait, or docker wait command, both same only. And then here I'm giving that container ID. Let's see. Now you can enter. If you see here, container, whatever container, right, it is paused one. Now it is not going. Now you can give control C, it is exit from there. Understand, right? If you want to be pause the container, what you can do, you can do that using docker wait, the particular container ID. Understand, right? Clear? Any questions? In case if you want to be restart the container, what you can do, you can use docker container restart command or docker restart command, and then you can give the container ID. What I'm going to do, here you can go with docker restart, and then you can give the container ID. Just I'm giving the container ID. Enter. If you see here, container is restarted. Earlier it was uptime is 2 minutes, right? Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to check it here. If you see here, currently it is 8 seconds back only. The reason, just now we have restarted the container. That's why it is showcasing the status is 8 seconds back. Earlier it was 2 minutes, but after restarted, it is showcasing that 8 seconds. Understand, right? If you want to be restart the container, we can do that. Especially some reasons, right? If you want to be restart the specific container, we can use the docker restart command. Okay, clear, right? Now what is the next one? If you want to be kill the container, what you can do, you can use the docker kill command. If you go here, currently we have a docker ps, and the container is running. If you want to be forcefully kill that particular container, what you can do, you can use the docker kill command, and then you can give the container ID. Example, I'm giving this particular container. Now you can enter. If you see here, the container is stopped one. It means kill the particular container. Currently, it is not showcasing the running one. Now you can go ahead and check it ps-a, and here it will be display the specific one. 9 seconds back, it was kill the particular one. Understand, right? Understand, right? Any question this one? Kill one. Now what is the final one? Docker container prune command or docker container prune command, right? If you want to be delete unused containers, it means like if you see here we have a exit particular container, right? If you use this particular docker container prune command, what will happen? it will be delete the particular container. Okay. Now if you go here, Docker container, here you have to give the container, guys, because the prune command, it is available in the images as well. That's why just give the Docker container prune, then container ID. Okay, clear, right? Just example, sorry, Docker container prune command, just enter. It will ask yes or no, just give the Y. If you observe here, it is deleted two. It is deleted two. One is this particular exit one, and also it is whatever created the container, right? Both are deleted. If you go and check it here, Docker PS command, and here it is showcasing that running one. And also if you see here, Docker PS-A, it is display only running one. Whatever we have created the container and also stopped the particular container, okay, everything is deleted. When you use this particular Docker container prune command, whatever stopped container, whatever created container, those things will be deleted. Running containers, it won't be deleted. Understand, right? So these are the commands in the container commands part 2. Understand, right? Again, I'm repeating. If you want to remove the container, we can use rm command. If you want to stop the container, we can use Docker container stop or Docker stop command. If you want to start the container, we can use start. If you want to pause the container, we can use pause one. And if you want to unpause the container, we can use unpause one. If you want to wait the container, you can use wait one. And if you want to restart the container, we can use restart command. And if you want to be forcefully kill the container, you can use kill command. And if you want to be prune the container, it means if you want to be delete unused containers, we can use the prune command. Again, I'm repeating, especially we'll be use restart command, start command, rm command, and stop command, and also kill command as well. We will be using, and some of the use cases, right? We will be do the Docker container prune command as well to delete unused command. These are the commands very most important in real time. And also sometimes they may ask question, how do we restart the container? How do we stop the container? How do we kill the container forcefully? How do we remove the container? Everything they may ask questions. So you should be aware of these commands. Understand, right? Any questions? Now we are going to discussing about Docker container commands part 3. Let's see the demo so that you will get some idea. And here you have to remember, guys, in the DevOps 0 to Hero series day 31, I already updated all the commands from part 1 to part 3. Please have a look here, documentation part. And we can see the demo as well so that you will get some idea. So here we have a final commands, that is a Docker container commit, top, starts, and export CP command. Understand, right? So first thing, Docker container commit command. If you want to be create the image from container, whatever running container, right? If you want to be create the image, what you can do, we can use this particular Docker container commit command or Docker commit command. Using that particular command, we can create the image. So here, example, if you go here, Docker images, okay, and sorry, Docker PS command, and here you can see that container is running. I wanted to create the image from container. Now here you can go to the Docker commit, and then here you can give the container ID, and then here you need to give the image name. Example, my image colon 75. Example I'm giving, guys. Okay, Docker commit and container ID, and then I'm giving that what is the name of image you are going to be giving. When we are creating the image, right, we need to provide the image name, right? That name is my image colon 75. Now you can enter here. Now if you see here, image is created. How do we check it? And here you can give it Docker images. Here you can see that whatever we give that image, my image 75 tag, it is created. The size is 192 MB. Understand, right? If you want to be create the image from container, what you can do, you can give it Docker commit command. Understand, right? Usually we won't use much in the real time, but you should be aware of that. If they may ask in interview level, is it possible to create the image from container from image? Yes, we can do that using Docker commit command. Understand, right? And next one is Docker container top command. What the top command will do? Usually in the Linux, we have a top command. It will give that CPU memory information. What is the command it will be utilized, everything, right? Similarly, Docker container top or Docker top command, it will be display the information. If you see here, Docker top command, enter, and here it is asking the specific container ID. If you see here, container ID, what you can do, Docker top, and then here you can give the container ID. Just give the container ID, Docker top, and then you have to give the container ID. And here you can see that the particular container, what is the UID, PID, PPID, Okay, everything it will be displayed. What is the command? Everything you can able to see it here. Understand, right? Again, I'm repeating Docker top command or Docker container space top command goes same only. Similar guys, in Linux, if you use the top command, it will be display the CPU memory information, everything, right? Similarly, if you use the Docker top and container ID, it will be display the what is the process ID, what is the user, which user it is running, UID, PID, PPID, everything it will be display. This one also we won't be used much, but just you should be aware of that one. Next one, Docker container starts command. What is the start command? Starts command. It will be display. It will be display the all the container statistics. Example, we have a container. The particular container, how much CPU, how much memory utilizing, everything it will be displayed. Example, if you go here, Docker starts command. Okay, now we can enter. If you see here, Docker starts command, what is the running container? And it is displaying what is the running container, what is the CPU, what is the memory, what is the limitation, everything it is displayed. Here you have to remember the starts command, it will be display every 2 seconds. If you see here, the particular when you use the Docker starts command, it will be keep on update every 2 seconds. If you see here, memory utilization is 3.57 MB, limit is 952. Okay, memory percentage, how much, network, the IOPS, input output, how much, what is that, block IO, everything, PID, what is the PID, everything it will be displayed here. Understand, right? Any question? This one might be used, but not much. Now, what is the next command? If you want to be export that particular container as a tar file, what you can do, you can use Docker container export command. Using this particular Docker container export command, we can export it. Example, if you see here, Docker PS, and here container is running Docker and export, Docker container export or Docker export command. And then here I'm giving the -o ms ready. Example, I'm giving the image.tar file. And here you can give that the particular container ID. Okay, now we enter. Now what is happening, right? It is created the export, that is image.tar. If you see here, ll command, and here you can see that image.tar file is created. Inside the image.tar file, it is contain that particular container related information. If you want to be export, you can do that. Understand, right? If you give this particular container ID, entire container information, it is exported under this particular image.tar. Again, I'm repeating, guys. Docker export command. If you want to be export the particular container as a tar file, what you can do, Docker space export -o image.tar, and then here you have to give the particular container ID. Understand, right? Fine. Now here you can check it, tar-tvf. tvf means it will be display the particular tar file. Now you can give it, and here you can see that every information is available here. Whatever inside the container, everything is to exported. Now here you can see that one. Understand, right? Any questions? This export also we won't be using, just you can ignore it, but just for awareness purpose only. Next one, in case if you want to be copy the specific file or directory from your local to inside the container, what you can do, you can use this particular Docker container cp command or Docker cp command. Understand, right? Example, what I'm doing here, right? What I'm doing here, right? I'm creating one file, search command, Murli. I'm creating the Murli file. If you see here, Murli file is created. Now what I wanted to do, inside whatever running container, right? Inside the container, we can copy this particular Murli file. For that one, you can give Docker container space cp command or Docker cp. And what is the file name? Murli file. And then here you can give it your container ID. You have to give the container ID. Okay, colon. And here I'm giving that /opt. It means whatever we have a Murli file inside this particular container, I'm going to inside the OPT, inside the container OPT directly, I'm going to copy this particular Murli file. Now we can enter here. Let's see. Now if you see here, successfully copied. Now how do we check it? For that one, you have to go to inside the container, Docker exec -it, and then here you can go to the container ID and /bin/bash or /bash or sh, whatever. Okay. Now here you can give it here, and if you go to the inside the OPT, and here you can give it ls command, and here you can see that Murli file is available. I'm inside the container. If you see here, root user @ container ID, inside the OPT directory, whatever we copied, right, that Murli file is available. Understand, right? If you want to be copy from your local to inside the container, we can use this particular docker cp command. Okay, understand, right? These are the commands, final commands. Again, I'm repeating. If you want to be create the image from container, you can use the docker commit command. If you want to be check that particular PID, process ID, PPID, UID, everything, you can use stop command, and you have to give the container ID. If you want to check all the container statistics, how much memory it is utilizing, everything, you can use this particular stats command. And if you want to be export that particular container from container to outside, you can create the tar file. Inside the tar file, we can store that one. You can use docker container export command. And then if you want to be copy from your local to the inside the container, we can use cp command. The reality, right? We won't be use this everything. Only we might be use stats command. Apart from that, we may not be use this all the commands, but you should be aware of. They may ask in interview level, hey, how do we? Is it possible to create the image from container? Yes, you can do that. What is the stats command? Or what is the export command? What is the cp command? They may ask question. That's why you should be aware. That is the reason I have covered that particular sub commands as well. Whatever I have covered, right? Those commands is enough. Docker container commands is enough. Apart from that, you don't require. We have other commands as well, other sub commands as well, but you don't require. You can ignore those things. Clear, right? Any questions now? Any questions? And one more thing, remember, guys. Usually in the real time, we won't be run the container inside the server. It means like directly we won't be running. Usually, what we will do, if you have any application, we'll be deploying the Kubernetes or ECS. Example, if it is a Kubernetes, right? We have option single application. We can increase the pods. Pods inside the pods, we will be having the container. We can increase it. But directly, if you run the container inside the server, instead of using that EKS, what is the problem here, right? You don't have any option to automatically increase. If you want to be scale up your container, we don't have that option. And also, if someone is deleted the container inside the server, it won't be create automatically. It won't be create automatically. So that is the reason majority of the organization projects, right? What we'll do, once we create the Docker image, we'll be deploy that particular application in the Kubernetes. Kubernetes, it will be provide a lot of advantages, like it will be support HPA, automatically increase the pods. Pods is nothing but application. Inside the pod, we'll be having the container. Container is nothing but application only. There is an option like if you want to be scalable, you can easy to do that. But directly running the container inside the server, we don't have that capability. Understand, right? And we do have Docker Swarm as well, but Docker Swarm we won't be use it. You can ignore that one. Okay, clear, right? Any questions now? Now you understood, right? That particular Docker container commands, all the commands, but you should be aware of all the commands. They may ask question in interview level. How do we create? How do we delete? How do we go to the inside the container? Everything. You should be aware of those things. Any questions now? If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me via LinkedIn, Instagram, Telegram. And also we have a Tech World with Murali website. In this website, I already published all the DevOps related courses. DevOps, AWS, Kubernetes, Terraform, AWS networking, DevOps projects, and some project. Here we have a 1 month, 6 months, 1 year plans available. If you want, you can enroll here. Still, if you have any questions, feel free to comment. I will try to respond as soon as possible. Thanks for watching this video. We'll see you next video.